India and Pakistan once again appeared to be on the brink of full-scale conflict in early 2025. Tensions flared on May 7th, with days of limited-scale skirmishes that raised fears of a wider conflict. Both sides agreed to step back when a US-brokered ceasefire took effect on May 10th. But with the two nuclear-armed neighbours accusing each other of breaking the deal since then, will the ceasefire last? India launched Operation Sindoor to target what New Delhi said were terrorist camps. Pakistan said the Indian airstrikes killed scores of civilians. New Delhi launched the airstrikes following an April 22nd attack in Indian-held Kashmir that killed 26 people. India has accused Pakistan of backing the militant group blamed for the April 22nd attack. It cited a speech that took place a week earlier when Pakistan's Army Chief Asim Munir referred to Kashmir as Pakistan's jugular vein. Islamabad has repeatedly denied involvement. Pakistan responded by launching missiles and drone strikes on Indian military facilities, and both sides traded fire along the line dividing the contested territory. Despite a ceasefire deal, key issues at the heart of the dispute between New Delhi and Islamabad remain unresolved.
I would say it's a very unique circumstances in which two nuclear armed countries are sharing more than 1,100 long borders with each other. So this is a very deadly scenario. So this war can escalate into any direction and to any extent. The intensity of war cannot be gauged by looking at the environment in between India and Pakistan.
So I think in both countries there is a very real attempt to try and appease domestic political constituencies and their hyper-nationalist foreign policy. So India, under the Narendra Modi government, which assumed power in 2014, has taken a more assertive position in response to terrorist attacks on its soil. There's an issue that related to, I think, the Pakistani military being on the back foot to a degree. So we've seen a string of terrorist attacks within Pakistan in recent months. We've seen the army losing popularity, losing some of its shine in the aftermath of the arrest and conviction of former Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan and the persecution of his supporters.
As celebrations broke out on the streets of Pakistan, India warned its armed forces would remain on high alert.
They want to be seen to have provided a befitting response to each other's actions, but at the same time, I think there is an appetite on both sides for to contain the tensions to the degree that is possible.
However, if you look at the past, I don't think that this present conflict will go beyond these exchange of surgical strikes unless India decides to raise the ante.
Conflict between India and Pakistan is deep-seated.
The dispute is rooted in questions of national identity that has then been overlaid by broader questions which are more where they pose more existential threats to both countries' security.
At the heart of the dispute lies the territory of Kashmir, also known as the highest battlefield in the world.
Kashmir is the jugular vein of Pakistan. You see, since our independence, this has been the bone of contention between Pakistan and India.
Kashmir is a highly mountainous region with borders contested by India, Pakistan, and China. Following the end of British colonial rule, the Indian subcontinent was partitioned between the newly formed states of Pakistan and India in 1947. The princely state of Kashmir, sandwiched between the two, faced intense pressure to join one or the other. Although the majority of Kashmir's population is Muslim, its Hindu ruler expressed the wish for his state to remain independent. But a pro-Pakistani uprising and a military invasion from Pakistan prompted the Kashmiri sovereign to call on India for support. This led to the First India-Pakistan War. It lasted for just over a year and ended in 1949 with the partitioning of the region along a ceasefire line. The division was formalized as the line of control by the Simla Agreement in 1972. Two more wars have been fought since for control of Kashmir: the Indo-Pakistani War of 1965 and the Kargil War in 1999. Both ended in a return to the status quo. Skirmishes have continued since, with Kashmir remaining a festering point of dispute between the two sides. New Delhi has accused Islamabad of sheltering and funding violent militant groups advocating for Kashmir's independence or integration with Pakistan. Among the groups is Lashkar-e-Taiba, the Islamist group designated a terrorist organization by the United Nations, was responsible for scores of deadly attacks in India. Islamabad, meanwhile, accuses New Delhi of oppressing the Kashmiri population. In 2019, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government revoked a special autonomous status for Jammu and Kashmir, conditions guaranteed under Article 370 of India's constitution. The Indian-administered region is heavily militarized, and pro-Pakistani or pro-independence politicians and activists are routinely silenced by the government. But the conflict is not only about territory. Ahead of the missile strikes, India suspended a crucial water-sharing agreement.
The Indus Waters Treaty of 1960 will be held in abeyance with immediate effect.
It's a blatant act against the humanity. Indus Water Treaty has withstood wars, withstood prolonged escalations between us and India, because this is a matter of international norms respecting such treaty. We have always respected such treaties, and India also respected. But this time, the first thing they did was that they had held this treaty in abeyance, and with the rhetoric that we will desertify Pakistan, this is a war.
The Indus River is Pakistan's lifeline, contributing to more than 90% of the country's agricultural output. Both countries agreed to share control of Indus tributaries in 1960, and the treaty has remained in place since. If New Delhi decides to reduce the downstream flow, it could have a devastating impact on Pakistan. India currently lacks the means to fully cut off the Indus River, but it can temporarily reduce the flow in its tributaries. Following the ceasefire agreement, Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif said the issue of water sharing and Kashmir would be resolved through negotiation. This, coupled with New Delhi saying victims of the April 22nd attacks have been avenged, has raised hopes that tensions will continue to ease.
Over the longer term, I think one needs to look at some sort of de-escalation pathway. I think in Pakistan has sought to seek a sort of reinstatement of Article 370. So I don't think that is likely to happen, but we could see some sort of halfway solution, a reinstatement of statehood in Jammu and Kashmir, for instance, which could help to de-escalate tensions between both countries. I think India is keen to try and de-escalate tensions. Whether that's actually possible, I think remains to be seen.